Amen.
And it's good to worship, take time to honor God and make requests and pray and testify and cheer one another up and encourage each other. Everything that church means, make it work, make it meaningful. Take advantage of it. Praise God. Thank you for your prayers and our journeys. We went to take care of her mom and came back, nice wagging little stories. But the Lord watched out for them, and they did well. And thank you for prayers in my trip to Michigan. There was a good number of people and our daughters, and had good times in the services there, so praise the Lord again. Thank you for your prayers. And trust the Lord to give us good days. Good days. We need a lot of them. Well, we have a holiday coming up. We don't get any days off for it. We observe it nevertheless, Valentine's. At least when I was working a job, they never did give it to us as a day out. I figured it would have been a good day for us to go for a ride and have a meal somewhere, but they never did do that. Nevertheless, it's an important subject, enough for us to consider. In your Bibles, in the book of the Ecclesiastes, there's a real important scripture there that covers a lot of things, covers a lot of area, and has an important message for us on a lot of the issues of living in life that we need to give attention to, love being one of them. Ecclesiastes in the 3rd chapter, and we'll read maybe the first 8 verses. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. You know something? If you want a simple answer to a lot of things, read this particular scripture. It will give you an answer. All right? It will give you an answer, and as we discuss it a little bit, you'll kind of see what I mean. That this will give you an answer a lot of times when a lot of other things won't. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, let's read a few verses there. To everything there is a season. Simple answer, right there. To everything there is a season. And a time to every purpose under the heaven. I say it this way sometimes when I'm talking to people. Everything earthly is in an orbit. You ever notice that? Everything earthly, and we're earthly, all in an orbit. We sleep, we wake up, drink coffee, eat a donut, or whatever you do, go to work, make your run, eat your lunch, finish your day. Study, do whatever for the evening. Shut back down again. Always going round and round and round. Sun comes up, sun goes down. Moon comes up, moon goes down. Stars shine bright, stars don't shine. Day comes, day goes. Winter comes, winter goes. That's a simple concept, but it's very powerful for our understanding on a lot of things. Time to every purpose under the heavens. Everything's in an orbit. Why is it in an orbit? Because it's dependent on others. Everything earthly is dependent on something else, someone else. So it's in an orbit. Goes round, comes round, goes round, comes round, goes round, comes round. And that's because it's dependent. Everything earthly is dependent. So, before we get to thinking, that we've got it all under control, our control, don't forget you are dependent. Very dependent on other issues, on other people, on other circumstances, on other elements. Take money, for instance. You just go home and dig in your suitcase and dig out all the money you want? Well, you can print some up and do that, I suppose, but you'd be in so big a trouble. You would give that up. You go dig in your backyard, and there There might be some there, but probably not. You can go searching in the forest, might find some there, but not. You got to engage in what produces money. Come and go, come and go, come and go. Verse 2. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant, a time to pluck of that which is planted. A time to kill, a time to heal. A time to break down, a time to build up. A time to weep, a time to laugh. A time to mourn, a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. Well, that's no good. A time to get and a time to lose, but it's there, and you know it works that way too. And if you're under 50, you still don't really know yet. You're going to lose something after that. It's a real nasty little surprise. Oh, let's move on. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend, a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. A time to love, a time to hate. A time of war, a time of peace. Let's finish reading right there. A time to love. Valentine's Day. We observe it, and I don't even know the origin of that. Probably some foreigner somewhere set this up. And I really don't know the origin. All I know is that's what we've been observing ever since I first went to school. We started observing that in school. We made Valentines for classmates and moms and dads. And we begin to observe this. A time to love. The way that says that, it means you target that issue. You target that issue for this space of time. You target that issue for these spaces of time. You target that. You know how we do it though? We kind of work it in splotches. Splotches. We just kind of throw a minute in here, we throw a minute in there, we throw 15 in there, we throw a little gift here, some gum and candy and presents over here. We pitch it in instead of concentrating on some of these issues. It's kind of life we learn to live. It's a life we learn to live in more recent times. We are living in a time and a day that our world and people, as we know them, have never, ever lived, ever. Mankind has never lived in the kind of world we're living in. With the kind of technology, with the kind of travel, and things of that nature. It's a very unusual day. But it's also a very time-rending day. So that we're doing everything in little snippets of time as we can grab along the way. Church included, spiritual included. Do our kids even go to a vacation Bible school anymore? Do they? Maybe? Maybe. A lot of churches don't have Sunday school anymore. We just work things out according to time issues. I'm not calling it bad, I'm just saying that's the day we're living in. Yeah. And so, the Lord help us as we think on these things. Everything earthly is in an orbit because it's dependent on something else. Because everything in an orbit is related and dependent on each other. So, everything earthly, we're earthly. That means that we're also in a cycle coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. And if it's in an orbit, you're dependent then. You're dependent on other. And we are. We're very dependent on other. And we need to recognize that, accept it, and then learn to work with it. In the frame that we're talking here, a time to love, that means that it's going to be something deliberate. When something has a time, that's what's supposed to happen at that time. Have you ever been a speaker in an agenda that was using multiple speakers, and they said, "All right, you have 20 minutes." And if you ever knew Chief of God's Bible School, used to be Ben Smiller. If you ever knew Ben Smiller, when it was agenda, you know, he would observe it if you're speaking. If he was speaking, maybe it might not work that way. But boy, he was just a go-getter. He had been a businessman prior to becoming a worker in Christian service. And he had a bunch of speakers up on the platform one day, and we were all going to have to say something. And he said, "You've got this many minutes." And he meant that many minutes. I don't remember if it was 15 or 20. It was, I think I had 20 on that one. He said, "You've got 20 minutes." "Okay, man." I said, "I got 9 points, but I'll see what I can do." And we went roaring down the way there, and I had a specific time frame that I had to observe. I suppose I could have abused it, but that would have messed up the situation. So I did the best I could. I think I got within 15 seconds of using up my entire time period. Got it there, got all 9 points done, cut it off, and sat down. Sat down, shut up. My time was over. You know, a lot of times speakers don't know when their time is up. Ever heard a few speakers like that? Ever done any speaking like that? I've done that early on in my preaching career. I've done that a lot of times. Really didn't have much to say. I don't know, it's just stuff I repeated. Should have shut up and sat down a half hour ago. There's a time for everything. And because it's all related and we're dependent, we got to observe time. We have to observe time. And so, when I was learning to do a radio broadcast, my father-in-law had a radio broadcast for years. And when we moved close by and came, he then taught me how to do it and turned it over to me. He says, "Now you got to stay within this much time. You got this much time for this much time for this much time for that, this much time for that. The preaching message cannot be more than 10 to 15 minutes at the most." Okay, so I worked on it, worked on it. I finally got to where I could preach a message 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes as I needed to. I learned to adjust my points and what to put into each one and how much time I had, and learned to say it and get to the point and not hammer around over here on all the introductory details. And then say, "Oh no, I got 3 minutes to lay out my heavy points." You learn how to prioritize when you start to understand time. That's when I started to understand time a lot better. And then I learned to organize my talk better. Put the heavy stuff with more time. Put the introductory stuff with less time. Put the build-up stuff with an adequate amount to be able to lay the heavies on. Yeah. Learn how to work with time. Have you learned how to work with time? You need to learn how to work with time in the issues that are important, and love is one of the issues that's important. Unfortunately, we're pretty reckless about how we do that. Everything earthly in an orbit, because everything in an orbit is related and dependent on each other. We don't really know love unless there is a willing recipient and a return giver. I'll read that again so you can think about it. We don't really know love unless there is a willing recipient and a return giver. Now, you can go home and think about that and analyze it and assess it and figure out if you really know love. If you don't have a willing recipient of what you have to give that you think is love, then do you know what you really have to give? You ever tried to feed nails to rabbits? know it's a dumb question. But the idea here is rabbits don't eat nails. They really don't care. You can throw nails in their cage all you want. It means nothing to them. It means nothing to them. They don't relate. They don't relate. Love is not relatable unless given to a heart, a mind, an individual, a people that can receive it. To receive it. Yeah. A lot of people, they try to turn different issues and different things and into love recipients. No, that's not going to work. You got to have another human being who can receive and reciprocate. If you're going to understand the love of God. Therefore, the Lord gives us people to learn how to do this love business with. You have no idea how to relate to something you cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot converse verbally, you cannot relate to in an earthly manner to. You have no clue how to love an unseen. Unless you first learn how to love a seed. God gave us people to learn this business of love. Willing recipients, willing givers. Outside of that, we don't know. We don't understand it. We talk big, and we talk good, and we talk like we're really in love with the Lord. You've never seen Him. You've never talked with Him. Heard a voice. Had a body to shake hands with, give a hug to. You've never done that. You've never seen that. Yeah. So how do you know? You say, well, I just know. No, you don't. You only know love as you have given to someone who receives and someone who reciprocates. And then you start to understand at a deeper level of your being, there must be something akin to what the love of God will be or is. Amen. You've got to have people in your life in order to understand and know love. Now, you say, well, how do you know that? How do you know that? Well, I've only been thinking about this for 45, 46 years. Probably even before then, thinking about it. It made absolutely no sense then. Makes a little more sense now that I've had to work in it. We really don't know love unless there is a willing recipient and a return giver. Or initial giver and we return the love. Initial giver and we return the love. Praise the Lord. You know something? Every single time that I needed to hear from heaven, the Lord sent someone, or someone called, or sent me a letter, or I accidentally somehow very unusually ran into someone who fed me, spoke the word, just gave the Spirit something. Amen. You see, let me tell you something here. Relational isolation is going to have a hard time with spiritual. You say, yeah, but I don't know anybody that loves me. That's okay. You don't have to. If you can love somebody. You see? If you can reach out. You see? Some of you know Clifton, some of you don't really know Clifton. I never knew Clifton, didn't know who he was until I first met him. I said, oh, that's Cliff, huh? Lee and Sharon's boy. Okay. I don't know him, but you know, we've been interacting back and forth now for about 6, 7 years.
To be honest, first time I saw you, I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah, he don't know me either.
Oh,
He care less about me. But we had to work on it back and forth. I didn't know him at all, but I started to learn a little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit about this young man and interact with him. And so we kind of know each other a little better now. And To the best of my knowledge, we're decent friends.
That's true.
Yeah. And if I needed a backup, I gotta take a walk down through town and I see maybe a kind of a not good area, he's one I might want to have along. He can throw a few kicks and deliver a few stabs that'll hurt. You see, there's value. I see there's value. Yeah, there's value. He's been good for a lot of laughs. A lot of good times. Yeah. But I learned that because I took time. If I had nobody else in my life, if I took time for him, he gave back and gave back and gave back and gave back. All over here, this group here, we can look at one another and we can assess the ratio of give and take here. How much have you given and returned for one another? We don't understand love until we understand it in the context of willing recipient and return giver, or I give and you return. Then we start to understand this matter of love. The plan of salvation isn't just a cold-hearted, one-way thing here. God threw out a plan and said, all right, everybody, come to the feast. Take it if you want it, leave it if you don't. Oh, we know it's not that heartless, but that's how it's treated a lot of times. You know what? You know what's really hard for us to understand? We are the heart of the plan.
Right.
The saved. To go farther, the saved and the sanctified are the heart of the plan of salvation. Jesus said, I got to go back now. I'm sending my Spirit. You guys go out there and do what I've been doing. You saw me do it? Go out there and do what I've been doing. I've been laying hands on the sick. I've been winning the hearts of the lost. I've been winning the hearts of the lonely. I've been making friends with people and leading them and feeding them and guiding them and helping them and just listening to them. I'm going to give you my Spirit. Now you go and do that. You go and do that. He says, and in order to even make it a little tighter, a little closer, I've arranged this thing so that there can be a love relationship in family even tighter than just even the general people arena. It doesn't stop. It only begins and goes out. Well, praise the Lord. We have very few excuses. Are you the giver? Are you the taker? Are you the returner? Let's go on here. Love is only realized and known in connection with another emotional being capable of returning. All of these are going to sound like the exact same thing, but they're not exactly the same thing. They're a laying on another thought on top of another thought that's all related. Love is only realized and known in connection with another emotional being capable of returning. Capable of returning. That's the only way it's going to happen. Yeah. When I made my bid for a queen, she could have shut me down and said, get lost. She could have shut me down. Yeah. But she didn't shut me down. Neither did she give me open arms either. But she was willing to talk. She was willing to talk. And I thought, oh man, that's more than what I had, so let's talk. Willing to talk. Willing to give. Willing to reciprocate. Love is only realized and known in connection with another emotion being capable of returning. Returning what? Kindness, thanks, and admiration. Isn't that kind of what this Valentine's thing is about? We give back. And I hope you've been giving all along the way to your friends and family. You've been giving love and care and attention. But these three things come to mind as we're talking about this. An emotional being capable of returning kindness. Yeah. And she was kind to me in the beginning. Invited me to a banquet the school is putting on at the end of the year banquet. She invited me to go along. Well, that was kind because I like to eat. But of course, it was a little more involved than that. Kindness, capable of returning kindness. I've lost track of all the gifts this woman has got for me. Lost track. I'll never be able to count the amount of kind things she said to me. You say, well, did she ever say negative things to you? Nope, never one. No, I'm sorry. That's an exaggeration. But you're thinking of it. But the kind things, I've lost track. There's too many. The kind things. How about admiration? Admiration. Are you guys giving each other admiration? I say, oh, no. Well, why not? There's something to admire about everybody if you look, think, assess, analyze, and give care. Once you start to care for people, you start to figure out a few things about people. And there are great things to admire about everybody. Great things to admire. You know, when I go into a place and I don't know any people there, I start to find out if there's anybody I know, I'll just start with them. And if there's nobody absolutely, then I'll just have to say, oh, well, I guess this is cold turkey going. I'm going to have to make a few friends here. Oh, man, it's the worst thing in the world for me. The cold contact of friend. Now, some of you have absolutely no problem. They throw you out in a crowd, man, you just kind of go right to work at it. And you got everybody on a string in no time, and you got a whole string of friends in no time flat. I'm still trying to say the first hi. It is. It's a struggle. It's a struggle to cold contact. It's a struggle to finally get to a place to where I'm giving kindness and thankfulness and admiration. Finally, when I get to the giving admiration stage, it's been a process already to get there. But get there you must, even if it's slow. And Valentine's Day has always been a good time to just give the admiration. Yeah. And I like that. We all like that. We better like that. That's a human being thing. It has everything to do with love and care. And God's people ought to be way up the ladder at giving kindness, thanks, and admiration. Way up the ladder. You say, well, what if it's not returned? Well, I guess you got to work on that. Here's a simple little item to think about if you're getting blasted. Get over it. Get over it. I know you were hoping I'd say, shoot him! Shoot him! Throw him out! Get rid of him! Blow him away! Waste him! All the good stuff. But in God's kingdom, in God's order of things, it's not going to work like that. If a problem, if a situation with people is irreconcilable, if it's irreconcilable and totally gone, get over it and move on. Yeah. You know, you're gonna want to win everybody, but sometimes it's not going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, if it's as you evaluate and you in the conclusion say, you know, this is irreconcilable, I'll never retrieve this one. The thing to do then is get over it and move on. Get over it and move on. Yeah. You say, yeah, but I'm married to my opponent. Well, it's going to be a little tougher then. It's going to be a lot tougher. But you got a lot more to work with. You got a lot more to work with. Yeah, we've come through a lot of tough times here. We've been through a few arguments, a few close to knockdown dragouts. Oh, that's awful. That's awful. You're preaching the gospel?
Don't act like you've never had any. That's just relationships. Come on. It's relationships. But grace in your heart, you can pick back up and say, let me look at this again. Let me try again. I'm sorry. Let's jump in here and maybe we can do something different. We'll approach it different. But if it's irreconcilable, no hope at all of ever recovery, move on. Move on. Don't give up. Just move on. Lord help us. Love falls short of meaning without acknowledgement and return. Love falls short of its full meaning without acknowledgement and return. Reciprocal. Remember what we said, orbiting? Love is something earthly, which means it's in an orbit. Goes around, comes around, goes around, comes around, goes around, comes around. That's how it stays alive, and that's how it continues to function the way it was designed to function. Love, as we know it as of God, is a goes around, comes around, goes around, comes around, intensifies, builds up, and spreads out until there's more and more orbiting emotional beings. And better yet, if they're heaven-bound. Love is dependent on other emotional beings for return, development. That's important, folks. We want our spirituality and our Christianity sometimes to just be only for me. That's not how it's going to work. You will not be victorious spiritually very long if you isolate yourself from other emotional spiritual beings. You will not. You will fail. You will fail. We need one another. We need one another. Amen. We don't have to need one another at the same degree of involvement as a husband and wife. Not everybody. You don't need that for everybody. But you need one another to keep spiritually alive in God's kingdom. You need one another. So, love must have a place in the order of everything. Love must have a place. So, take special time. Take special time for acknowledgement. And Valentine's Day, let me make a suggestion here. More than once a year. More than once a year. Aaron, more than once a year. Joe, more than once a year. Ken, more than once a year. Jim, Tim, all of us. Clint, James, Lee, all of us tough guys. All of us tough guys. More than once a year. More than once a year. Help us, Lord. Love must have a place in the order of things. Love is a conqueror. Love is a conqueror and is patient and is kind. Love requires atmosphere in order for its power to work deep in the heart. Love requires atmosphere in order for its power to work deep in the heart. Now, here's how it works. Watch this. I come and I sass and badmouth my wife, and we go at it and go at it and go at it, and then I end all that tirade. I say, but I love you. You know how good that floats? Throw a hammer in the water and you see how it floats. That's how something like that floats. You badmouth and crab and complain and gripe and criticize, make fun, big jokes, ha 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 at her. And they say, but I love you, honey. You blew it. You created such an ugly, nasty, dark, stormy atmosphere and then tried to redeem it with a few words. That's not going to work. That's not the kind of atmosphere I'm talking about creating. Love requires atmosphere. Get the mood up. Get the spirit up. Get the positive up. Get the love for what we think it means up. Get the kindness up. Get the admiration up. Get the thankfulness up. Boost all these levels up then you start to have atmosphere. And when there's atmosphere, love just kind of gets away, and people outside of yourselves then begin to tune in. When God's people really have the atmosphere, I'll tell you, somebody new walking in, they can just feel it and sense it and know it and just want to be a part of it. Amen. Help us, Lord. Love requires atmosphere in order for its power to work deep in the heart. Love is a conqueror. Love is patient. Love is kind. And the Lord bless you as we think about Valentine's Day in whatever way we do, but more about the love of God in our hearts and our lives and through us to others. Praise God. Let's bow in prayer. Our Father in heaven, in Jesus' name, we thank you for the love of God that affords us the plan of salvation. That gives us real people to love, to care for, to give, and to see these rise up and go and learn to love and care and give. So, Lord, may your kingdom grow and advance in great proportion. Be with our people today and throughout the week. Guide, guard, direct, keep, inspire, heal, help, strengthen, encourage, bless all of our group here today and those that aren't with us. And in all things we give thanks in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. The Lord bless you. Happy Valentine's.